How much of his story omits history?
White people created civilization. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's not true either.
Before we hop on the pre-colonial civilizations and rulers in Africa, we want to make sure that everybody's seen this. That's the Pope praying to a black Madonna. And there's countless images. This one we did from Getty, so that way we weren't having the argument of valid sources or whatnot. However, the ancient Egyptians that were calling Kemet, Nubia, Mali, the Kingdom of the Nine, and Nungo all existed prior to a colonizer ever setting foot in Africa. Kings, queens.
Okay, yeah, kings and queens in Africa. It's just not true.
It's not first world civilization, but it is a civilization.
You see what liberal...
They didn't just kill him. They cut off his head and kept it in a jar for 170 years. His name was King Badu Bonsu II, ruler of the Ahanta people in what is now Ghana.
It was over 600 and some odd years after this tribe established itself as a formal government that the Dutch came over and took the king's head. And why? Why? Because he would not participate in slavery. So when they say Africans sold Africans, a great deal of the Africans didn't know that they were selling their people or the enemies that they captured into chattel slavery, but there in fact were legions of kings and queens on the route before a Caucasian ever drew breath.
Liberalism has done to your mind. You're sitting here arguing a point. Well, no, I said liberalism. I didn't say you're defending people lying on your ancestors as people make you feel guilty about it.
Humans be humans. Humans are not great creatures. So when you tell me I've heard a story that humans cannibalize each other, I'm going to believe that.
White people cannibalized black people during slavery.
That happened. Yes.
And we just finding out about it. You see how stupid that is? Like you think if white people were eating people, we would just now be hearing about it? They
did not teach that the so-called owners were ex-ing their property, men, women, and children. They didn't teach that in history in school. One of y'all's presidents,
Thomas Jefferson,
a 13-year-old girl that gave birth to his first child at 14.
16.
She had 4 in total. And they also have family reunions. None of this was taught to us in school. You understand? That wasn't at the forefront. However, any and every negative aspect of slavery, chattel slavery that is, it's always an attempt to minimize it in some form or fashion. It wasn't all the slavery. No, some of them were good. And black people also, a lot of black people had to purchase freedoms of themselves and others, and that transferred into ownership too. The first chattel slavery and slavery are not two the same things. And chattel slavery is not in the Bible. Like people weren't, you know what, here, just
make you feel bad for everything. And everything that happens in the black community is blamed on white people. Don't you think that if there was a chance for them to tell y'all that y'all were eating them, that would have been one of the first things?
I think cannibalism has happened in human history all over the world.
White people.
Yes, white people too.
Cannibalizing.
A picnic is actually of French origin, picnic, and picnic isn't recorded in the English language until about the 1800s, with a similar meaning to modern-day picnics, a social gathering involving food. That said, there is a gory intersection between picnics and lynchings. You see, for white America, lynchings were once a source of social festivities. Quite literally. There were even instances of a condemned black man being paraded around on a float before being tortured and burned alive to death. Food and souvenirs were sold at these events, including bits of the condemned black bodies that were desecrated for trinkets and even consumption. Yes, at times white lynch mobs would even cannibalize tortured remains of black people they murdered. So racist lynchings being the origin of picnics and pick-a-inward being the etymology of the word picnic is untrue. But the reason so many people, particularly black people, believe it is because of a gruesome truth. We out ya.
So in conclusion, we'd like to take a very common sense approach to the practical application of lynchings during Jim Crow South, and then the ones that happened up north too, versus chattel slavery when folks owned our people. If the average everyday white people were out there happy to lynch a Negroid while they were not in ownership and possession of them, wouldn't it be safe to take the common sense approach to understand that while they had people in captivity locked away, they could do that whatever they wanted? And then the delectable Negro, they keep saying that's been debunked or something, and it's again weird that everything negative about slavery is not real, but all the fact of the
REX